These are the objectives we are covering for today. Last time we got introduced to databases. We saw what a database is. And we saw what we can do with databases. We also looked at a few examples of databases or DBMSes, where, which includes Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, DB2, and so on. And also, I gave you an assignment. I asked you guys to install MySQL. So have we all installed MySQL now? Have we all installed MySQL? Please respond. You can respond on the chats or unmute yourself to respond. Do we all have?
Yes, sir. I have it.
Installed? Okay, thank you. So more responses. We all have MySQL installed, yes or no? Yes or no? Please, let's respond. Let's respond. Do we have MySQL installed on our computer? Yes or no? All right, so believe we all installed MySQL. So today, what are the objectives for this class? One, we are going to see, these are the objectives. We are going to see how to create a database, how to create a table, how to insert records or rows into a table. And of course, we'll introduce what we call MySQL Workbench. And then we'll just see how to log into MySQL Workbench. Okay, so those are our objectives, for today. Now, before creating the database, we also we are first going to look at how to start MySQL. How do you activate it? How do you start MySQL client? Now, MySQL is a DBMS, a database management system. And usually the way it works is that it works based on client-server system. So MySQL has what they call the server, MySQL server. The server is what actually hosts the database. The database usually in the server is controlled by this, it's housed and managed by the server. Then there's MySQL clients. Okay, the client is the app that is used to connect with the server, right? So when you want to use MySQL, you actually need to start the MySQL client. Now, with our installation, when you install your MySQL on modern operating system like Windows, by default, when you start up Windows, the server starts running. The server starts up in the form of what is called a service. So the MySQL service starts running, okay? So to use MySQL, you need to use the client to connect to that server. All right, so whenever I want to use MySQL, what you need to actually do is you start up the clients and then use the clients to access the MySQL server, so you can do whatever you want to do in MySQL. Okay, so let's take a look at the MySQL client, so you see what it's like. Now, when you start up MySQL, it's usually in this form. MySQL 8.0 command line clients, right? Now, how do you get this? So what I want you to do now is this. Let me see. What can you see on your screen? What are you seeing? Are you seeing my desktop?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I would like you to start up your MySQL clients. Okay. This is the clients. By the time you start it up, you are going to see something like this on your screen. Okay. So how do you start it up? You click on, I don't know how you start programs on your computer, However, just click. You can go through the search box. Your search box may be down here or up there, wherever. Then just type MySQL. It's also called MySQL. You can also pronounce it MySQL. Then when you start MySQL, you see something like this. MySQL 8.0 or whatever version command line clients. Can we all see that on our screens? Yes,
Yes, sir. I can see it.
I see it. So please click that option and click on it. When you click on it, it's supposed to show you something like this. It will ask for password actually. Let me just restart mine so you see what I'm talking about. So if I put in my SQL and then click on that, and I just do password, enter. Type in the password you supply when you were installing your MySQL. Can you see my SQL screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please do that. Oh, somebody is saying no audio. Why? Good evening. My audio is clear. It is clear.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir.
Are you sure you are not muted? Hope we can all hear. I hope the other people are hearing me, apart from me.
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
I hear, so I don't know.
Maybe it's network or something.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so that is it. So do we all have this? Please, if you have this, just let me know on the chat. This is a practical based course. Okay, so you have to follow practically. All right, so now the way it works is this. In the last class, we saw what a database is. We saw that a database is actually a collection of logically structured information or data which is stored and managed electronically, okay? Usually using a computer. Now, a database is like a container that contains lots of objects, different objects. The main type of object in a database is the object called tables, the tables. Okay? The tables. Database tables are the objects that actually store the data in a database. Okay? So, arguably, the database table is the most important object in a database because that's where the data is actually stored. There are other objects that perform some other functions. We'll look at some of them as we get along in this course. But the main object contained in the database is the database table. A database may have one or more tables, okay? So in this class today, like I told you, our objective is to create a database. In fact, the first thing we plan to do is to log into MySQL, start MySQL, which we have done, okay? So next, let's see how to create a database, okay? Now, before we create a database, I want to show you something. Suppose I say show databases. It's going to show me a list of the databases that are stored in this computer. Okay. Now it's showing me the list of databases on this computer. These are the databases. Okay. Information schema, MySQL, and all that. Some are system databases, some are user databases. These are the databases, right? Now, let's say we want to make use of any of these databases. First of all, let's say we want to make use of any of these databases, like student, for instance. What we just need to do is just say, we'll type the command here, use students. Use students. What that does is it opens up the students database. So what has happened now is that I'm now connected to the student database. So I want to see, is there anything inside the student database? I can say show tables. It's telling me, okay, is there any table in the student database? You tell me, look at the screen and tell me. Do you think there's any table in this student database? Are we there? Can you see any table listed? Yes or no? Okay. Somebody said no. Yes, any other response? Can you see any table listed? Now look here. You can see. See, you know what we are doing now is not like Excel and all those things now. This is it looks, as you are seeing now, looks dry, but what you are seeing, this environment we are dealing with is very, very powerful. Okay. In fact, you can even create databases here and connect Excel to it to retrieve the information into Excel. You can connect Arrow to it, you can connect Python to it. You can even connect Power BI to it. This data you are seeing, this database. Okay, so it's very powerful. Now, when I say table, don't look for something like Excel screen right now. Even though it's in that form, later you see that it can come out, we can get it to come out in that form. But for now, just look here. What's written here? Can you see it? Can you see my pointer? Are you?
Yes, sir.
What is this? Tables in,
Students.
and it's listing one, admission. Okay. So it's telling you that the student database has one table called admission. That's what it's telling you now. Are you following now? So now I want to see what is in that admission. So if I say select, don't worry, we are going to talk about all these commands. You may not know what it means for now. Don't worry. Just relax. Now, this is the student table. It's telling me that student table has 1, 2, 3, 4 columns and just one row. Okay, I actually just created this just to show you. Okay, so that is that. So now, let's now go ahead to, let's create a database. How do we create a database? Okay, so that's the next thing we are going to do. We are going to see how to create a database. Okay.